The transport ship landed on Platform 9 of the Galactic Coalition Academy. The doors opened with a hiss, and students from 12 different planets walked out into the bright artificial sunlight. Among them was a small human girl with long black hair and eyes that looked at the ground more than they looked at the sky. Her name was... She carried one bag over her shoulder. Inside were 3 sets of clothes, a small tablet computer, and a photograph of a young boy with a bright smile. That was all she owned in the universe. That was all she needed. The Academy was the biggest school in the known galaxy. It trained soldiers, diplomats, scientists, and leaders. Species from 37 star systems sent their best in here. Walking through its halls were tall reptilian warriors, 4-armed engineers from the outer systems, and floating beings made of pure energy. Humans were rare here. Humans were considered weak. Knew this. She had been told this many times before she left Earth. "You will be tested," her handlers had said. "They will try to break you. Do not let them see what you are. Do not let them know what you can do. Be invisible. Be nothing. Be the quiet girl in the corner that no one remembers." She had nodded. She was good at being invisible. She had been invisible her whole life. The administration building was a massive structure of white stone and blue glass. Inside, a bored-looking alien with gray skin and 4 eyes processed her paperwork. Human female, age 19, origin Earth Eastern Sector. The alien looked up. "You have been assigned to Dormitory Block 7. His expression did not change, but something cold moved through her chest. Block 7 was where they put the aggressive species, the ones with claws and fangs and bad tempers. It was not a place for humans. "Is there a problem?" the alien asked, though its tone suggested it did not care about the answer. "No," said softly, "no problem." She took her room assignment and walked away. Behind her, the alien made a note in her file, unremarkable, unlikely to complete first term. Block 7 was exactly as bad as she had expected. The hallways smelled of musk and something like old blood. The walls had scratch marks from species that could not control their natural instincts. The lighting was dim because many of the residents here had eyes that were sensitive to brightness. Her room was at the end of a long corridor. When she opened the door, she found that she was not alone. Her roommate was already there. She was tall, almost 7 feet, with green scales and yellow eyes that had vertical slits for pupils. Her name was, and she was from a warrior species that had been conquering planets when humans were still living in caves. Looked at the way a cat looks at a mouse. "They gave me a human," said, her voice a low rumble that vibrated in his chest. "I asked for a single room, and they gave me a human instead." Walked to the empty bed on the other side of the room. She set down her bag. She did not respond. "Are you deaf, little thing?" stood up. She was massive, her muscles visible even under her scales. "I am talking to you." "I heard you," said quietly. She began unpacking her bag. 3 sets of clothes went into the small drawer. The tablet went on the desk. The photograph she tucked under her pillow, out of sight. Crossed the room in 2 steps. She grabbed his shoulder and spun her around. Her claws dug into his skin, drawing small drops of blood. "Look at me when I speak to you," growled. Looked up, her face was calm. Her eyes were empty. She showed no fear, no anger, nothing at all. This confused, prey was supposed to be afraid. That was how the universe worked. The weak feared the strong. It was natural, it was right. But this small human girl looked at her like she was looking at furniture. "You will learn your place here," said finally, releasing her grip. "Humans are at the bottom. You eat last, you speak last. You exist because we allow you to exist. Understand?" "I understand," said. She turned back to her unpacking. After a moment, left the room, slamming the door behind her. Alone now, rolled up her left sleeve. On her wrist was a tattoo of a wolf's head, rendered in silver-gray ink. In certain light, it seemed to move. In certain light, the wolf's eyes seemed to open. She touched it gently with her fingertips. "Not yet," she whispered, "not yet." The days turned into weeks. Attended her classes. She sat in the back. She took notes. She never raised her hand. She never spoke unless a teacher called on her directly, and even then her answers were short and simple. In combat training, she performed exactly at the middle of the class. Not good enough to be noticed. Not bad enough to be removed. She moved through the exercises like a ghost, present but not quite real. The other students learned to ignore her. She was boring, she was nothing. She was exactly what she wanted to be. But she watched, she always watched. She learned which species were truly dangerous and which ones only pretended to be. She learned which teachers could be trusted and which ones enjoyed seeing the weak suffer. She learned the layout of every building, every corridor, every emergency exit. At night, when the academy was quiet, she went to the empty training rooms. There, alone in the darkness, she moved in ways that would have terrified anyone who saw her. Her body flowed like water and struck like lightning. She practiced techniques that had no names in any language the academy taught. She trained until her muscles burned and her lungs screamed for air. Then she returned to her room, showered, and slept like the dead until morning. Noticed nothing. The other students noticed nothing. The teachers noticed nothing. On Earth, in a secure facility that did not appear on any map, a man in a gray uniform watched her progress reports. "She is maintaining cover," he said to the woman beside him. "Good," the woman replied. "Let us hope she never has to break it." Far away, in a small care facility in what used to be called Korea, a 12-year-old boy named received a message from his sister. It contained 3 words: "I am safe." He smiled and went back to his homework, not knowing that his sister was the most dangerous thing the Galactic Coalition Academy had ever allowed through its doors. 3 months passed at the Galactic Coalition Academy. The seasons did not change here because the station floated in space far from any sun. But time moved forward, and with it came changes that could not control. She had become truly invisible. Students walked past her without seeing her. Teachers forgot her name. Even had stopped bothering to insult her. Was furniture. She was background noise. She was exactly what she had been trained to be. But there was one person who would not let her disappear. Her name was, and she was also human. Came from the Mars colonial families, the richest and most powerful humans in the solar system. Her ancestors had built the first cities on Mars. Her family owned companies that supplied half the fleet. When she walked through the academy halls, other students moved out of her way. Not because they feared her strength, but because they feared her connections. She was beautiful in a cold way, with sharp features and eyes that calculated the worth of everything they saw. She had built a circle of followers from many different species, all of them united by one thing: they enjoyed having power over others. Noticed because did not notice her. It started small. One day in the cafeteria was carrying her food tray to an empty table in the corner. Someone bumped into her from behind. Her tray flew from her hands. Food splattered across the floor. "Oh, I am so sorry," said a voice that was not sorry at all. Looked up. One of his followers, a tall male from a species with blue skin, was smiling down at her. Behind him, watched with amusement. "You should be more careful," the blue-skinned male said. "Clumsy little humans." Said nothing. She bent down and began cleaning up the mess with her bare hands. Around her, students laughed. The blue-skinned male walked away to join his group. His eyes never left his face. She was looking for something. Fear, perhaps, anger, some reaction that would make this game interesting. She found nothing. His face was as empty as a blank page. This made want to write on it. The attacks continued. Sometimes they were physical, a push in the hallway, a foot extended to trip her on the stairs. Once, someone poured a drink on her head during lunch. Sometimes they were not physical. Her study materials disappeared from her room. Her assignments were mysteriously corrupted before submission. Rumors spread about her, each one more terrible than the last. I heard she was a criminal on Earth. I heard her family sold her to pay their debts. I heard she is not really human at all, just something that looks like one. Endured it all, she cleaned up after herself. She redid her assignments. She ignored the whispers. Her handlers had told her this might happen. They had prepared her for much worse. But then found her weakness. It happened on a Thursday. Was in her room, alone because was at some warrior ceremony. She was talking to her brother on the video communication system. His face filled the small screen, bright and happy. "Nuna, I got 95 on my math test," he was saying. "Teacher said I am the best in the class now. Are you proud of me?" "Very proud," said. Her voice, usually so flat and empty, had warmth in it. Her eyes, usually so dead, had light. "You are working so hard. I will bring you a gift when I come home." "A real gift from space? Can it be something cool? Can it be a—" The door opened. Turned off the screen immediately, but not fast enough. Stood in the doorway, a master key card in her hand. Behind her were two of her followers. "How interesting," said, walking into the room without permission. "The little mouse has a family after all, a brother it seems, a young one." Stood slowly. Her face was empty again, but deep inside her chest something was waking up, something that had been sleeping for a very long time. "Get out of my room," said. Laughed. It was not a nice sound. "Or what? Will you report me? To whom? The teachers who ignore you, the administration that put you in the monster dormitory. No one cares about you, little mouse. No one at all." She picked up the photograph from his pillow, the one of smiling at the camera on his 10th birthday. "He is cute," said. "What was his name?" "He is at the Sunrise Care Facility in the Eastern Province, yes. I had someone look it up. It is amazing what money can find." His hands curled into fists at her sides. The wolf mark on her wrist began to grow warm. "Give that back," she said. Her voice was still quiet, but there was something new in it now. Something that made one of his followers take a step back. Did not notice. She was enjoying herself too much. "I have been thinking," said, setting the photograph down. "You have been so rude to me. You do not bow when I pass. You do not move out of my way. You act like you are equal to me when you are clearly nothing." She leaned close to his face. "So I am going to teach you a lesson. My family has connections in the Earth government. One call and your brother's care facility receives a welfare investigation. These things take months to resolve. During that time, he would be moved to temporary housing. Not nice places. Cold places. Places where bad things happen to small boys with no one to protect them." The room was very quiet. "Unless," continued, "you get on your knees right now and beg me for mercy. Do that and maybe I will forget about your brother. Maybe." Did not move. She did not breathe. Inside her mind, a door that had been locked for years was starting to open. "Well," asked, "what will it be, little mouse?" Looked up, her eyes had changed. They were darker now, deeper, like wells that had no bottom. In certain light, they seemed to glow with a faint silver shine. "I will give you one chance," said. Her voice was soft, but it filled the room like smoke. "Walk away. Forget my brother exists. Never speak to me again." Smile faltered for just a moment. Something in her animal brain was telling her to run, but her pride was louder than her instincts. "Is that a threat?" she asked. "From you?" "It is a promise," said, "and I always keep my promises." Laughed again, but it sounded forced now. "We will see about that. Tomorrow, you and I are going to have a conversation in front of the whole academy, a formal challenge, combat assessment. Let everyone see what happens when a mouse challenges a lion." She turned and walked out, her followers close behind. Alone in her room, sat down on her bed. She rolled up her sleeve and looked at the wolf mark. It was pulsing now, slow and steady, like a second heartbeat. "I tried," she whispered to no one. "I tried to stay quiet." The wolf in the ink seemed to smile. Somewhere far away, in that facility that did not exist on any map, alarms began to sound. A man in a gray uniform looked at his screen and went pale. "She is waking up," he said. The woman beside him closed her eyes. May the gods help them all. Combat Arena was the largest building in the Galactic Coalition Academy. It was built 300 years ago to train soldiers for wars that might never come. The floor was made of a special material that could survive orbital bombardment. The walls could contain explosions that would destroy a small city. It was designed to hold the most dangerous beings in the known universe. Today, it was full of students who had come to watch a show. Word had spread fast. The rich human girl from Mars was going to fight the quiet human girl from Earth. It was not supposed to be interesting. Everyone knew how it would end. Had the best training, the best equipment, and the backing of one of the most powerful families in human space. Had nothing. And yet the arena was packed. Maybe it was because students were bored. Maybe it was because they enjoyed watching the weak suffer. Or maybe, deep in their instincts, they sensed that something was about to change. Entered first. She wore a combat suit that shimmered with neural enhancement technology. This kind of suit was supposed to be banned for training exercises. It connected directly to the user's nervous system, making them faster and stronger than any normal human could be. But's family had donated a new science wing to the academy last year. Rules were flexible for people like her. She raised her arms to the crowd. Some cheered, most just watched. Then entered. She wore simple training clothes. Black pants, white shirt, no armor, no visible weapons. Her long black hair was tied back in a simple ponytail. She walked to the center of the arena and stood there, waiting. The crowd murmured, this was strange, this was wrong, why was she not afraid? Walked forward until they were face to face. A referee drone floated between them, ready to declare the rules. Combat assessment, the drone announced in a flat mechanical voice. Non-lethal settings required. Victory is achieved through submission, unconsciousness, or inability to continue. Medical staff is standing by. Do both participants understand and agree? I agree, said, smiling. I agree, said, her voice barely above a whisper. Combat will begin in 30 seconds. Prepare yourselves. Leaned close to. After I am done with you, she whispered, I am going to make that call. Your brother will learn what happens when his sister makes enemies above her station. Looked at her. Her eyes were still that strange dark color, deep and endless. You should not have said that, said. She rolled up her left sleeve. The wolf mark was visible now, silver-gray ink on pale skin. But it was not just a tattoo anymore. It was moving. The wolf's head seemed to turn, seemed to look out at the world, and then it opened its mouth. The sound that came out was not possible. It was a howl, but it was not a sound that ears could hear. It was a sound that bones could feel. It was a sound that went straight into the brain and triggered every fear response that evolution had ever created. In the stands, students from warrior species grabbed their heads in pain. Beings that had conquered planets felt their hearts race with terror. Even the referee drone flickered and sparked, its systems confused by something it could not measure. Stumbled backward. Her combat suit was sparking too, its neural connections overloaded by something they were never designed to handle. What are you? She gasped. Did not answer, she just moved. Later, people would argue about what they saw. Some said she teleported. Some said she moved so fast that their eyes could not follow. Some said she was in two places at once. What everyone agreed on was the result. One moment was standing in the center of the arena. The next moment, his hand was around her throat, lifting her off the ground like she weighed nothing. The neural-enhanced combat suit died completely, leaving in normal human strength against something that was very much not normal. You threatened my brother, said. Her voice echoed through the arena, calm and cold. You made this about family. She threw. The rich girl's body flew across the arena. It hit the floor that was designed to survive orbital bombardment, and the floor cracked. Not just cracked, it shattered. Spider web lines spread out from the impact point, covering half the arena. The material that was supposed to be indestructible broke like thin ice on a frozen pond. Lay in the crater, unconscious, bleeding from her nose and ears. Her expensive combat suit was in pieces around her. Medical drones rushed forward. Alarms screamed. Students were pushing toward the exits, driven by instincts they did not understand. Stood in the center of the destruction. Her breathing was normal. Her heartbeat was calm. The wolf mark on her wrist was glowing now, silver light pulsing in rhythm with something ancient. She looked up at the observation deck, where the Academy's leaders watched with pale faces. She looked at the cameras that were broadcasting this to every corner of the station. On Earth, she said, her voice carrying to every ear, we have a saying, let sleeping wolves lie. She turned to leave but stopped at the edge of the arena. Followers were there, frozen in place, too terrified to run. Her family will not make that call, said to them. If my brother receives even a strange look from a government official, I will come back, and I will not stop with one. They nodded frantically. They would have agreed to anything at that moment. Walked out of the arena. Behind her, emergency teams were trying to help. The floor was still cracking, spreading like a wound in the station itself. In the observation deck, the Academy's chancellor turned to the human representative. Explain, he demanded. Explain what we just saw. Admiral was an old soldier who had seen many wars. He had watched the fight without expression. Now he allowed himself a small smile. You wanted humans at your academy, he said. You said we were too weak, too soft, too fragile. You put our students in the dangerous dormitory. You let them be bullied and beaten because you thought it would make them stronger or drive them away. He stood up, straightening his uniform. That girl was our peace offering, proof that we wanted to cooperate. She was ordered to stay quiet, stay invisible, endure everything you threw at her. His smile faded. But you went too far. You threatened her family, and now you have seen what Earth has been hiding. What is she? The Chancellor asked. His voice was shaking. She is a wolf, Admiral said. And there are more of them, many more. Remember that the next time your students decide to bully a quiet human girl. He walked out, leaving the Academy's leaders in terrified silence. That night sent a message to her brother, just 3 words, same as always, I am safe. But this time she added something else, a small picture of the Academy's night sky filled with artificial stars. Coming home soon, she wrote, save some ice cream for me. Far away, smiled at his screen, not knowing that his sister had just changed the balance of power in the galaxy. The emergency council meeting began 6 hours after the fight ended. Representatives from every major species in the Galactic Coalition sat around a massive circular table. Their faces showed different expressions, but their eyes all held the same emotion, fear. At the center of the room, a holographic recording played on repeat. It showed a small human girl lifting another human off the ground with one hand. It showed a floor that could survive nuclear weapons breaking like glass. It showed something that should not exist. Chancellor, a gray-skinned elder from the founding species, spoke first. We have analyzed this recording 700 times. Our scientists cannot explain what we are seeing. Our military experts have no classification for this threat level. He turned to the only human in the room. Admiral, Earth has been a member of the Coalition for 42 years. In all that time, you have presented yourselves as a peaceful species, weak, harmless, in need of protection. His 4 eyes narrowed. You lied to us. Admiral was 73 years old. He had fought in 3 wars, negotiated a dozen peace treaties, and buried more friends than he could count. He was not easily moved by anger or fear. "We did not lie," he said calmly. "We simply did not tell you everything. You never asked." "We should not have needed to ask." The representative slammed her fist on the table. Her species had been warriors for 10,000 years. They had conquered dozens of worlds, and now they had watched a human girl terrify their strongest students. That girl destroyed our arena. She broke our soldiers without touching them. What is she? Admiral stood up slowly. He pressed a button on his wrist device, and a new hologram appeared. It was a wolf's head, rendered in silver gray, the same image that was tattooed on its wrist. 300 years ago, he began, humanity was young in space. We had just invented faster-than-light travel. We were excited to meet other species, to learn from them, to trade with them. His voice grew harder. What we found was different. Species that saw us as food, species that saw us as slaves, species that attacked our colonies because they knew we could not fight back. He looked around the table. Many of you were those species. The room was silent. Some representatives looked away. Some met his gaze with defiance, but none of them could deny the history. "We had no natural weapons," Admiral continued. "Our skin was soft. Our strength was average. Our senses were dull. In a fair fight, a human would lose to almost any species in this room." He smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "So we decided to stop fighting fairly." The wolf hologram began to change. Data streams appeared around it. Medical records, training documents, scientific research, all of it heavily classified, all of it being revealed for the first time. The wolf program began in secret. We identified children with certain genetic markers, certain psychological profiles, children who could survive what we needed to do to them, children who could become something more than human. "You experimented on children." The representative from the energy beings sounded horrified. "We gave them a choice," Admiral said. "A choice between being victims forever or becoming protectors. Every wolf chose this path willingly. Every wolf knew what they were giving up." He pulled up another file. It was personal record. Subject born in the eastern province of Earth. Parents deceased. One younger brother in care facility. Entered the wolf program at age 8. Completed training at age 16. Current status: active. The council members studied the file. The training requirements alone were enough to make some of them feel sick. Years of physical conditioning that would kill most species. Mental exercises designed to break down the limits of human consciousness. Genetic modifications that were illegal under a dozen different treaties. "How many of them are there?" Chancellor asked quietly. "Enough." "That is not an answer." Admiral closed the hologram. "It is the only answer you will receive. The wolf program exists to protect humanity from species that would harm us. The exact number and location of our wolves is classified information that I am not authorized to share." He sat back down. "What I can tell you is this: was sent to your academy as a gesture of good faith. She was ordered to maintain cover, to endure any challenges without revealing her abilities. We wanted to prove that humanity could be a peaceful partner in the coalition." "What went wrong?" a representative asked. "You did." Admiral's voice was cold now. "Your students bullied her. Your teachers ignored it. When she refused to break, a student from a powerful family threatened her brother, the one person in the universe she would die to protect." He leaned forward. "Wolves are not machines. They have emotions, families, people they love. That is what makes them dangerous. A machine follows orders. A wolf follows her heart, and its heart told her that anyone who threatens her brother must be stopped." Chancellor raised a hand. "What do you want from us, Admiral? Clearly, you did not reveal this information without expecting something in return." Admiral nodded. "3 things. First, we'll face no punishment for her actions. She was provoked, threatened, and responded with appropriate force. The student she injured will recover fully in 2 months." "Agreed," the Chancellor said. though he did not look happy about it. Second, all human students at this academy will be treated with respect from this day forward. No more placing them in dangerous dormitories. No more ignoring when they are attacked. If we learn that humans are being mistreated anywhere in coalition space, we will respond. Several representatives shifted in their seats, but no one objected. Third, Admiral said, you will remember what you saw today. Share it with your governments, your military leaders, your people. Let them know that humanity is not prey. We never were. We were simply waiting to see if you deserved our friendship. He stood up one final time. You have 1 year to decide what humanity means to the coalition. Partners or enemies, friends or threats, choose wisely, because if you choose wrong. The wolf hologram appeared again, larger this time, filling the room with silver light. You will hear us howl. He walked out without waiting for a response. In her dormitory room was packing her bag, 3 sets of clothes, a tablet, a photograph. She was leaving the academy tomorrow. Her mission was over, one way or another. Stood in the doorway, watching her. The tall reptilian had not spoken to in months. Now she seemed to be struggling with something. I was wrong about you, finally said. Did not look up, yes. You could have killed me at any time. That first day when I grabbed you, you could have ended my life. Yes. Was quiet for a moment. Then she did something that never expected. She bowed, a deep formal bow that her species reserved for the greatest warriors. I am honored to have shared a room with a wolf of Earth, said. May your hunts be successful and may your pack stay strong. Finally looked up. For just a moment something like surprise crossed her face. Then she nodded. May your scales stay sharp, she replied. It was not a traditional response but seemed to appreciate it. The reptilian straightened and left, closing the door gently behind her. Alone again, allowed herself a small smile. Perhaps the future would be different. Perhaps this had all been worth something. She picked up her photograph and looked at smiling face. Soon, she whispered. Very soon. The transport ship left the Galactic Coalition Academy on a bright artificial morning. Students gathered at the observation windows to watch it go. Among them were species that had conquered worlds, beings that had lived for thousands of years, warriors who had never known fear until 3 days ago. They watched the small ship carrying one small human girl, and they were relieved to see her leave. Inside the ship, sat alone in a passenger cabin. Her bag was stored above her head. Her hands were folded in her lap. She looked like any other tired traveler returning home after a long journey. But she was thinking about what she had left behind. The academy had changed in the 3 days since the fight. Human students walked through the halls with their heads held high for the first time. No one pushed them. No one knocked their food trays away. No one whispered cruel words as they passed. Some species now bowed slightly when humans approached. Others simply moved out of the way with careful respect. The teachers who had ignored years of bullying suddenly found themselves being investigated by coalition authorities. Ant's family had been very quiet. The call to harass care facility never came. Some said the family had received a private message from Earth's government, a message that contained detailed information about where every member of their family lived, worked, and slept. Wolves protected their pack, and now the whole galaxy knew it. Looked out the window at the stars streaming past. She did not feel like a hero. She did not feel powerful or important. She felt tired. She felt ready to go home. Her communication device buzzed. She looked at the screen and saw a video call request from her brother. She answered it immediately. His face filled the screen, bright and excited. He was in his room at the care facility, surrounded by drawings and books and the small toys that sent him whenever she could. "Nuna," he shouted. "Are you really coming home? The director said you are coming home. Is it true?" "It is true," said. The warmth in her voice would have surprised anyone who had known her at the academy. I am on the ship right now. I will arrive tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, that is so soon. What time tomorrow morning? Can I wait at the landing port? Can I make a sign? What should the sign say? Should it say welcome home or should it say something funny? Laughed. It was a rare sound, soft and gentle, nothing like the cold voice she had used in the arena. You can make whatever sign you want, she said. I will find you no matter what it says. Promise. I promise. They talked for an hour, told her about his school, his friends, the new book series he was reading, the drawing he was making for her. Listened to every word. She asked questions. She smiled at his jokes, even the ones that were not very funny. This was why she had endured 3 months of silence and cruelty. This was why she had revealed herself to the galaxy, not for glory or power or respect, just for this, just for her brother's voice, just for his smile. After the call ended, she leaned back in her seat and closed her eyes. The wolf mark on her wrist was quiet now, the silver ink dark and still. It had done its job. It could rest. The ship arrived at Earth's orbital station the next morning, collected her bag and walked through the departure gate, expecting to see the usual crowd of tired travelers and busy officials. Instead, she saw a line of soldiers in gray uniforms standing at attention. At the front of the line was a woman recognized, Director Park, the head of the Wolf program. She was tall and stern, with gray hair pulled back in a tight knot. She had trained since she was 8 years old. She was the closest thing to a mother had ever known. Well, Director Park said, looking up and down, you certainly made a mess of things. I am sorry, said quietly. I tried to stay hidden, but they threatened. I know. Director Park's stern face softened just slightly. I know about the boy. You did what any wolf would do. You protected your pack. She turned and began walking, fell into step beside her, leaving the soldiers behind. The galaxy knows about us now, Director Park continued. That was not supposed to happen for another 50 years. Our plans have changed. Our strategies have changed. Everything has changed because of what you did. Felt her heart sink. Am I in trouble? Director Park stopped walking. She turned to face directly, and to his surprise she was smiling. In trouble, child, you are a hero. She pulled out a small device and showed a series of reports. Coalition species canceling planned aggression against human colonies. Trade agreements being revised in humanity's favor. Military alliances being offered from species that had ignored Earth for decades. They thought we were weak, Director Park said. They thought they could push us around forever. You showed them the truth. One girl standing alone, changing the course of history. She put the device away. There will be questions, meetings, possibly some ceremonies, but after all of that is done, you have earned a rest, as much time as you need. Looked up. How much time? How much do you want? I do not know. Thought about it. Maybe just enough to eat ice cream with my brother, maybe a week, maybe a month. Director Park nodded. Take the month. Take 2 months if you need them. The galaxy will still be there when you are ready. They continued walking until they reached the main terminal. Through the glass, could see the landing area where family members waited for arriving passengers. There in the middle of the crowd was a small boy holding a large sign made of colored paper. The sign said, Welcome Home Nuna, in big uneven letters, decorated with drawings of wolves and stars and hearts. Was jumping up and down, trying to see over the taller adults around him. His face was full of hope and excitement and pure joy. Felt something in her chest that she had not felt in a very long time. It was warm and bright, and it made her eyes sting with tears she would not let fall. Go, Director Park said softly. Go be his sister for a while. The wolf can sleep. Walked through the terminal doors. The moment saw her, he dropped the sign and ran. He crashed into her at full speed, wrapping his small arms around her waist, burying his face in her stomach. You are home, he said, his voice muffled. You are really home. dropped her bag. She knelt down and wrapped her arms around her brother, holding him tight. The wolf mark on her wrist was completely silent. The hunter, the warrior, the most dangerous thing the galaxy had ever seen was, for this moment, just a girl hugging her brother. "I am home," she whispered, "and I am not leaving again for a long time." Above them, the sky was clear and blue. Somewhere out there, beyond the atmosphere, species were rewriting their understanding of humanity. Governments were changing policies. Military leaders were having nightmares about silver wolves and cracking floors. But here on Earth, in a crowded landing terminal, none of that mattered. Here there was only a sister and a brother, reunited at last. And tomorrow there would be ice cream, all 37 flavors. The wolf could wait, family came first. It always had, it always would. And that, more than the strength or the speed or the howling terror, was what made humanity truly dangerous. They fought for each other. They died for each other. They would burn down the galaxy for each other. The Coalition was beginning to understand this. In time, they would learn to respect it. And somewhere in the quiet corners of space, other wolves were watching, waiting, protecting the pack. The story was far from over. But for now, for this moment, there was peace. Picked up her brother, settled him on her hip, and walked into the sunlight. She was finally home.